Hey, what's up, guys? How are you guys doing today? Welcome, everybody. Hey, Nerva, what's going on? Hey, Pro Pam. Hey, Rim. What is going on? Listen, you guys, first of all, let's give a happy birthday to Shanquella Robinson. She would be 26 years old today. On one hand, it's super sad that her life, that flame was cut short so quickly. But on the other hand, at least we know on some level justice is coming for Shanquella. We have some new details and evidence on what's going on. Plus, we're going to do a recap and talk about what really actually happened in the case, what we know for a fact, where the speculation is. And I want you guys to call in because I want to actually have a conversation about this. I know everybody goes live about this. I hardly ever go live, but I wanted to sit here and talk to you guys and just like talk about the things that have been going on, who else has been giving great coverage, all that good stuff. Okay. So, 1 second. People are texting me like, how come you're not online? I am online. Okay, you guys, let's get into this. First of all, happy birthday. As you know, they released balloons for Shanquella. Myself and everybody I love, I harass them, has donated to Shanquella's fund as generously as they can. Please donate if you can. If you can't donate, share the fund with somebody who can. I know that they only had a $400,000 goal and they've completed that goal. I know there have been like a lot of like, I don't want to call somebody. Listen, all I'll say is pray for the wicked. There have been a lot of people accusing her family of using that fund to enrich their own lives. I would just like to say this, right? And I don't know anything about anything, but I will say this. Her family loved her mommy, her daddy, her stepsister. Do you honestly think that somebody would be so dark-hearted as to trade 400,000 than to have their loved one there with them? Also, I know a lot of people aren't involved in like crime, forensics, investigating, but that 400,000 when it comes to lawyers, translators, and don't forget they're going to have to hire a lawyer to sue which the Cabo Six, either all of them or some of them, whoever's brought up on charges officially, sue them and Dejanay Jackson in civil court to make sure that even after they're done serving their sentence, because Mexico doesn't have life sentences, that they can never, ever make a dollar that does not belong to Shanquella, her family, and her memory. I know y'all might be like, what are you talking about? We know that Alyssa's family has powerful connections, right? We know Alyssa's family has money, but not even that. What if one person from the Cabo Six decides to sell the rights to Lifetime? And you know this will be a Lifetime movie, right? No shade to Lifetime. What if one of the Cabo Six decided to sell the rights to their story for a biography, for a Netflix documentary, for an actual TV show, or whatever? There, especially in the age of money, social media, there are so many ways to make money and profit off of stuff, even sick stuff. I mean, for God's sakes, they made a documentary about Jeffrey Dahmer, and there were a million fangirls that were like, oh my God, I love Dahmer, this and that. I just think that the family is in for a long legal battle. There needs to be representation. They need their lawyers to actually work in coordination with FBI investigators. They actually need money to provide a full autopsy. This is one of the things that I wanted to discuss. I know that her dad paid $5,000 or $6,000 to get an autopsy. But one of the reasons why the FBI might be dragging their feet so much is because that autopsy is really lacking. It's very lacking. And let's not also forget the United States Department of State put a warning around the Los Cabos area that said you can't trust any of the doctors, ambulances, or anything like that. Use at your own risk because they are known for extorting and shaking down people. Now, I'm not saying, let me be clear. I am not saying that Shanquella's dad was taken for a ride, shaken down. Anybody in that funeral home took advantage of him. He seems very confident in the work they gave. I'm saying that when you get down into true a forensic autopsy, that's literally combing through everything, testing for every known poison, every known disease. Again, the fact that there was no alcohol, there was nothing on the autopsy that said whether she had alcohol. You need to understand with illegal stuff, The omission or the omission of one thing is not the inclusion of the other. If there is no alcohol, if they tested for alcohol, which is what a good autopsy would do, it would say she tested positive or negative for alcohol. And it would also say what, at least in their approximation, if they could find it, what her BAC was, that is her blood alcohol content. She was supposed to get 14 rounds of CPR, 5 adrenaline shots, 6 of those electric things. I forget what they're called, but you know, the ones that like make you jump up, right? All that stuff should have happened. We all know that after 2 or 3 rounds of autopsy, I'm sorry, I'm not autopsy, of what do you call it? Why can't I talk? Of 2 or 3 rounds of CPR, there is damage to the rib cage. If you keep going, your spleen and liver can get lacerations. Lacerations are cuts. You can crack your whole rib cage. Most people have to recover in the hospital from CPR. Do you know that? And this is just 2 or 3 rounds of CPR for like a few moments. I believe a round of CPR or a cycle of CPR takes about like 5 cycles of CPR takes about 2 minutes. They said they did 14. So basically they were working on her for about 9 minutes. My whole point of the matter is, the autopsy didn't mention that there was any damage to her rib cage. The autopsy didn't mention anything that had to do with the CPR. The autopsy didn't mention the bruises, didn't mention the bump, didn't mention the eye, the lip busted open. Now, we know that that happened because the person performing the autopsy sent pictures to Shanquella's family. We know this. However, a picture is not on the official report. Why do I say that they need money for a professional autopsy? Because I guarantee you one thing. I guarantee that the FBI, if the family gave them permission, or actually this is a criminal investigation, I don't even know if they need the family's permission. I guarantee the FBI has 100% performed their own independent autopsy on Shanquella's body. And whatever their findings are, is something that is slowing the case down. And by slowing the case, it means they need to gather more information. Now, why doesn't the family have access? Because a lot of people are like, oh my God, they represent Shanquella's family, the FBI, the America. That's not true. In any criminal and this is no shade to anyone. This is nothing against Shanquella's family or anything else. This is how they do things in a standard procedure, okay? Let me just get this out, and then I'll say hi to everybody, and then we can actually get to talking. I'll drop the call-in link, and I'll share what new stuff I actually found, okay? When you are hurt, okay, and I've said this before in my videos, I have a Shanquella playlist if you guys want to see it, but when you are hurt, and I mean criminally hurt, let's just say you are R-word or assaulted or robbed or beat up or, you broke into a bank and you stole money. In any of those situations, especially when it comes to a violent offense, people often think that the government is representing the victim. That's actually not actually true. What the government is actually doing is representing society. Now, they're using a victim as an example, but they're representing their society. So if you stand up and you say to the attorney general, or to the district attorney, or to the prosecutor, if you're on the state level, I don't care that I was violently assaulted. I want them to go free. They will look at you and say, yeah, that's cool, and you might need some counseling, but you realize that you've just identified this person as a danger to society. They are a predator. They are a danger to society. We cannot, as a society, have people walking around, right, that like to beat up people to the point of death. We can't have them walking around, because even though you were cool with it happening, that's not to say the next person is. And it is a danger to society to have that person walking around. So even though you don't want to press charges, we're pressing charges on behalf of society. Now, I do know sometimes with that, charges aren't brought up because they don't have a big enough case without statements from the victim, or maybe they don't have enough, and that they have to let it go because they don't think that they can actually prosecute. But when they have enough evidence, even if you say, I don't want them prosecuted, they'll say, I don't care. They're a danger. We can't have people beating their kids, beating their wives. We can't have people we can't have it. As a society, we got to take them out the herd. So that's why I say all this to say Shanquella's family has not gotten information because, one, anything that the autopsy that the government paid for revealed is underneath government protected property in the investigation. So it's classified, right? Unless you're involved in the investigation, they will not tell you. And they're under no legal bounds. Now, if Shanquella's family got their own independent autopsy, that would be their information. And if they chose, they could share it with the government, but they would be the ones that own that information. Okay. Also, I do want to say that, again, getting back to the GoFundMe, to this all this stuff, I just think it's really pray for the wicked, that you would ever, in a time when a family is hurting, see a sister or a mother or a father have a break in the incredible pain they must feel, right? We all know, like the darkness can't last forever. Even in the worst of human pain, even in war, even like kids that saw their parents mowed down in front of them, there will be times where that darkness, that heaviness will lift and they'll smile. They'll give themselves permission to live life. They'll give themselves permission because they call that survivor's guilt, right? You feel so guilty in your heart to even have fun when that person can't be there. And I think it's just like, we need to pray for the wicked, that you would even imply with no proof, as far as I know, besides projection, right? Because I wouldn't even think in my mind that somebody could like hate their sister. And yeah, I call most people in America now have half siblings, right? So like this isn't like 1910 when there's no divorce and like have, you know, like Game of Thrones was like half siblings. You mean the bastard Jon Snow? I mean the fact that most people have half siblings or the cousins got half siblings and you are raised as one as family. And for a family in this horrible time of all the tears you cry, and you find a way that on her birthday, you celebrate her and you laugh and you joke and you remember all the light and beauty she brought from this world. And there are people ripping you apart because you dared remember that life is for the living. And if Shanquella was here, she wouldn't want everybody crying all the time. She would want them to live their lives. She would want them to smile when they can. She would want them to honor her through their happiness. Again, where, I don't know, pray for the wicked. Who knows what evil lies in the hearts of men? But I feel like, let me just shut up and move off of that. Let's move off of that, right? Let's see. But okay, so where are we? First of all, let's talk about something that like, this is the evidence, like some misinformation about what's going on with that Cabo villa. I know a lot of people are saying that the Mexican businessman is so powerful and this and that. Y'all, I know, I looked into it. First of all, they're not Mexican business. They live in California. They are not cartel. And even if they were, why would the cartel be protecting a doctor and something that would bring the FBI sniffing around to get actually deeper on what's happening? I just don't think it makes any sense. I honestly don't. Now, that said, I'm not the authority on everything in life. Please make up your own mind. But I will say that some of the things that have come out about the business owner taking it off of the internet, them not renting that villa out. You guys, I did a little investigation that is 100% wrong. That Villa 32 is still available for rent, right? It is still available for rent. Let me just get into this really quick. Let me share my screen with y'all. Wait, hold on. Let me present a video file. Your girl's been busy putting together video files, all right? Let's get this popping. All right, so first of all, a lot of people are, I just want everybody to know that there is something called distended abdomen. That is where you go through CPR and your stomach becomes swollen because when you're blowing the air in, you're artificially bloating not just your stomach, but your entire midsection. Again, CPR is super, super, super traumatic. And I can't stress enough that what the FBI is not, at least from what I see, they are not taking the Cabo 6 off of the hook. They are 100% responsible. You know that when it comes to any type of tort, or if you are responsible for someone's death, right? Let's just like, so you drove the car that hits a wall, right? And you're under the influence, and then somebody tries to pull your passenger out of the car, and from them pulling, they might dislocate something. Who's responsible for that injury? The person driving the car underneath that, the person driving the car under the influence is ultimately responsible for whatever injuries. And if you die from that, they're responsible for your death. We know that Desjanée Jackson, regardless if she meant to or not, planned to or not, a reasonable person under the circumstances would say, if I am pummeling somebody from above, that a reasonable person under that circumstances could reasonably assume that somebody could die from that. Desjanée Jackson is 100% responsible. The Cabo 6 may have tampered with the body by dressing her, tampered with the evidence, done a whole lot of stuff. Okay, we all know that. My whole point of bringing up the FBI with the doctor is just to say something very plain. The doctor is also responsible. Not more than Desjanée. She is the ultimate, and not more than the Cabo 6, but she is definitely right there. She might not be number one, right? But she's definitely in top 3. The doctor, the police officers, and everything. A lot of people are like, oh my God, the doctor administered the best care. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. By any standard, even somebody that was just a lifeguard at the YMCA and learned CPR, she dropped the ball every step of the way. As a matter of fact, her performing CPR overzealously might have been one of the things that dislocated. But again, when you are dealing with alcohol poisoning, you need 4 things. You need an IV. She had one of those. You need a tube going down the throat to make sure that the body gets oxygen so you don't get brain damage. That IV must have thiamine and I believe niacin, but definitely thiamine and something else in there to feed the brain, and also electrolyte to feed the brain so you don't get brain damage. You must also have a stomach pump. Again, this is not being drunk. This is not being tipsy. This is poisoning. Take out the word alcohol and put in the word cyanide. If somebody says you have cyanide poisoning, poisoning is poisoning. It is to the point of no return. It is saying that if we do not do anything drastic, you will die. And somebody showed up when you had arsenic or cyanide poisoning and had an IV bag filled with Pedialyte, because that's basically what it is. It's like, it's sugar, it's potassium, it's salt, it's all that stuff, right? Oh my God, thank you, Cam Burglar. I'm not a real Myrie, but you said praying, thanks for covering this, praying for justice for Shanquella. Thank you so much for the super chat. I surely appreciate it. But I will say this, and also for everyone, thank you, Cam Burglar. Thank you so much for the super chat. I will say to everyone, if you are thinking about sending a super chat, please go to Shanquella's GoFundMe and give that money to her, even if it's $1. It only takes a second. You can do Apple Pay. It'll happen immediately. Please, just for her 26th birthday. But Camberger, I'll pass this along and I'll make the donation in your name to Shanquella's Fund. But for anybody else thinking about sending me a Cash App, please donate to Shanquella's Fund. And if you can't, or whatever, then take somebody you love out for some ice cream. Hug your kids, hug your man, hug your girl, hug your mom, hug your dad. There's somebody in there that you can spend some time with, show some love. But anyway, let me get back to this, right? You also need, where was I? You need a stomach pump, right? Because again, that girl showed up with a bag of Pedialyte. And I say that to be funny, but it really is vitamin, like some certain vitamins, depending on what you need. You would need thiamine, you'd need niacin, a few other things. It is sugar, it is salt, and it is potassium. That's what's in most IVs. And then like whatever vitamins you may or may not need. That is what is in most IVs. You need special stuff in those IVs for alcohol poisoning. You also need a stomach pump. You need a stomach pump. Also, because what you need to be in the hospital or somewhere that can do blood tests, because they must figure out where your blood alcohol level is, because if they don't move quickly and act right, you will slip away. This is for alcohol poisoning, which is what Shanquella had. You also need two types of medication. I forget their names, but they give it to you because it's supposed to help the alcohol rush out of your body quicker. It's supposed to help the alcohol rush out of your body quicker, because we know that if it reaches the max point, you are done. For everybody saying, oh my God, Fly Girl 51517, thank you so much for the super chat. I really, really appreciate it. Also, if anybody else wants to send a super chat, please donate to Shanquella's fund. I know her family would appreciate it. I 100% stand behind her family. I think they are good, honest, loving people, and I think they deserve every penny, because they're going to need it for this fight that's coming up, and also to sue this Cabo 6 civilly. It all adds up. If you guys think with this type of case, 400,000, that'll be gone in a heartbeat. I'm surprised they didn't ask for more, and I'm surprised more big name celebrities didn't give more. But anyway, let me get back on point. Everybody defending that doctor. Oh, well, what does she have to do with it? A lot. Oh yeah, well, Dejanay, that's true. If the Dejanay hadn't, it would have never happened. But that does not escape a medical professional not offering the correct amount of care that could have, if what everybody's saying is true, save Shanquella's life. That's the best case scenario. You could have saved Shanquella's life. The worst case scenario is she was dead when you got there, and this was all a shakedown, and y'all was all faking the funk. And even though everybody's saying, oh my God, who cares? Who cares about the doctor? Let her go. I care. And you know why the FBI cares? Because the FBI is saying a doctor, police officers, and a local authority that would let this happen, provide this level of care to a popular American tourist destination, is a danger to not just our citizens, but to the citizens of Mexico, specifically in the Cabos area. You cannot walk around giving this type of medical advice, doing these type of things. You can't. You have to be off the street, whether that's in jail or get your license removed. And the fact that most people don't see that, they look at that as a distraction, it's not. Because why what happened to Shanquella is so sad. Do you want another Shanquella to happen? Do you want another person? And let's also not forget that the doctor, right? Thank you, my Michelle, for the super sticker. I appreciate you so much. Please, everybody, feel free, please, to donate to Shanquella. I wish I could stop. I could turn off the super chat. It's not that I'm not grateful. I really appreciate you guys blessing me, but I do think this money could be better spent with Shanquella's family and helping and supporting them. They actually really have really nice hoodies that say Justice for Shanquella. I'm going to order one and I'll start wearing it so you guys see how it looks. But my whole point is, right, the doctor cannot literally walk around and give that same medical care if she's telling the truth to someone, because that was criminal malpractice. If everything she's saying in that police report is true, it is criminal malpractice that resulted in someone's death. Now, the government thinks that she might be lying about that and that she was dead from the gate. But I just want everybody to realize she cannot go free. They cannot go free, because they will strike again. You know that the doctor, even though people are like, oh my God, what's the big deal with the doctor? You know the doctor is the reason that the Cabo 6 got to go back home and didn't get arrested right then and there for murder. Do you know why? Because when she said, we need to rush her with the ambulance, right? Now, let's just say, and they asked for that 5,000. And the fact that, and even if she didn't ask for the 5,000, because that we don't know when the bribe happened. It does look like a bribe happened. We don't know when. But Cabos is known for telling people, oh, you need money for this, you need money for that. But let me get to my point, right? My whole point of the matter is, next time somebody is injured in a villa, right? And we know that the hospitals pay kickbacks to the villa. When they were talking about, oh, there's a special relationship between the villas and the hospitals, they pay kickbacks, right? You send me somebody, I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up. So that's why they go to certain places. Next time they call, right? And she's supposed to come and make an assessment about an emergency that must be treated in the hospital. Alcohol poisoning, even in America, cannot be treated outside of the hospital, period, point blank, right? When it's her turn to assess, what if she goes and sees something else? Somebody having a heart attack, somebody this, something that. And she says, no, the friend said, I don't have to do this. That means that she is a walking doctor of death. And again, a lot of stuff is unfolding. It seems like the FBI investigation has expanded because the more they look into this, the more. The only thing that we can pray is that that first autopsy the parents got was actually accurate and that they didn't take 5,000 or 6,000 from her dad. But I will say this, I find it hard to believe that the funeral home lied about the luxation of the spine. I do believe that they might not have done a thorough autopsy, but they did do an autopsy. And once they saw the internal decapitation, which is when your head separates from your spine, but it's still held together by skin, that's what happened. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, so let me get into this. All right. So one of the things that were going around was that that the villas weren't available anymore out of shame, dignity, respect, whatever it was, that they took the villa off the market. That is a lie. That is not true. What they did, though, this is the place, and it's on a million sites, Villa Away. But it's not just Villa Away. There's a million sites that are third market suppliers for luxury condos in the Cabo area. See, here's what happened. Expedia, Travelocity, Expedia, Kayak, all those places. Do you know what they let you do? Hotels.com. Do you know what they let you do? They let you leave reviews. And the thing is, the owners of the villa don't give a damn nothing about what happened to Shanquella. They don't care. They took it off of any sites where people can leave reviews saying, you know, a girl died. You know, the American Medical Center did this. You know this, you know that. So they put it on luxury sites like Villa Away, all these things, any place that sells the luxury villa. Google Villa 32, Cabo San Lucas. They put it on these sites because even though you can still purchase, it's between $1,300 and $3,000 a night, depending when you get it. They're not even giving a discount. This is the pool that the kids were having fun in. This is the pool that Shanquella was having fun in. I have pictures of the inside of the villa. But the thing is, on these luxury sites, you can't leave a comment. So even the lie, it was a lie that they pulled it down. They never pulled nothing down. They pulled it down from hotels.com because you can leave a comment on hotels.com. They pulled it down from Travelocity because you can leave a comment on Travelocity. They pulled it down from Expedia because you can leave a review on Expedia. That's why they pulled them down. They put it up on sites where you can't leave comments. So next time somebody's planning their Cabo vacation and they don't know about what's going on with Shanquella Robinson, boom, what's going on? Listen, we actually have, let's look inside. Let's just skim through these pictures, right? This is definitely the outside of the pool. Look at that. Remember the pictures that they showed? There goes that column. This is an aerial. Oops, let me rewind. Hold on, y'all. Move too fast. Where are we at? Remember the column everybody was talking about, right? This is the aerial view. This is the aerial view. There's those 4 columns right there. You guys have to remember there's 2 ways to get down there. You can walk down like a small flight of stairs because even though this is one level, you know how it is, like lands a little off, but you can also walk out of the door from the living room / kitchen / whatever / dining room, right? Look at that. There's that pool. There's that little mini jacuzzi. There's the 4 seats, right? Over here is where the dinner table is. And if that, it's an unobstructed view of the pool. And then over here, you would see the columns thing. You guys also have to realize that this villa was huge and wide. And if you guys don't know anything about villas that are that wide, they have floor-to-ceiling windows. The floor-to-ceiling windows all retract and fold into each other. So the whole outdoor area, there can be no, nothing blocking. You know, there's no barricade. All the windows roll back on each other. It's actually like a glass wall that collapses into it. But it was so wide across that there was a little sectional and couch and 2 chairs. But on the other side of the living area, there was, of course, the dining table where you saw the chefs and stuff serving them. But let's actually get through this. Look at this. This is the view. This is everything. This is the same villa that they are selling, and not even for a discount. But they thought they were slick, and they thought they were slick, and they spread misinformation to make it look like they cared, and they took stuff down when at the end of the day you just took it down because you didn't want a review on hotels.com saying I'd give it 0 stars if I could. That's what's going on with this, right? Again, I will say this, right? My boyfriend's always telling me, like, because I'm like, you listen, if you're like me, you got a big family. And when it comes to family vacations, you're like, yo, I'm not trying to spend $30,000 on vacation. And we fly down to Mexico, which is close to everybody, right? We can get a villa like this, literally balling out of control. We can literally pay for the chef. We can get a driver. We can even get a nanny for the whole week. And it will cost a fraction of what it was to even stay a week in San Diego. It will cost a fraction. But my boyfriend always told me, Mexico is not safe. And it's not because of the cartels. It's not. No. And I'm not going to talk about all of Mexico, but I will talk about Cabos and what the State Department said. It's not safe because when things go, it's safe until it's not. When things go down, like things that you don't expect, you getting hurt, you getting injured, trying to go to the emergency room, and they're trying to run up the dollars and charge your life insurance $1 million. Oh, you didn't know about that? This is a common scam. They're not your life insurance, but they're trying to charge your health insurance $1 million. This one guy's wife had COVID, was in the hospital 14 days. We know that Mexico's, like most places outside of America, America has the highest healthcare. So and not because we get the best, but just because insurance companies run things, right? We know that in America, so you're going to pay a premium to have a baby in America is like what, 40,000? To have a baby in Mexico is probably going to be close to like 12, 8, maybe even 5,000. All right. It doesn't speak to the level of care. It's just the fact that it's a lower cost of living. So everything is lower. The fact that his wife stayed in, and this is on the reviews for the American clinic, right? The wife stayed, got 14 days, COVID, stayed in the hospital for 14 days. The hospital director was in the husband's room every day being like, yo, you need to pay this. You need to pay this. You better pay this. I don't care who you got to call. They said, we're going to need $50,000 up front. He said, I have insurance. They were like, it don't matter. Run it up. He was like, okay, he maxed out his credit cards for $10,000. The doctors told him, head director of the hospital came and told him, yo, I don't care. Do what you got to do. Call who you have to call. Make sure you get that money. This is what he said pretty much verbatim. The guy was freaking out. He tried to tape them. Doing illegal stuff. The head director, medical director of the head director of the hospital went up to him and said, let me tell you something. If I ever hear about you taping any conversations in this hospital again, you are never going to see your wife. I repeat, he said you are never going to see your wife. What's more, he finally found a way through his insurance to get her medevac to Arizona, which she passed away because her care was lacking. That means that they were saying they were doing something, they weren't doing anything. And you want to hear the final insult to injury? His insurance, the hospital tried to bill his insurance company for $1 million. $1 million for 14 days in a Mexico hospital. Let me tell you something. Even the most expensive U.S. hospital with surgery and a private suite is not $1 million. They tried to bill the insurance company $1 million. And when the insurance company said, for what? For what? What? $1 million? What? For what? Right? They wanted to know. They were curious. They refused to offer any documentation. For people that pay it, when they try to get documentation to show that they paid that much, to show their insurance company, they refuse to give it. Anyway, my whole point is that condo, the villa is still up. My boyfriend always says Cabo is safe until it's not. Why do you feel that way? Because again, when things go down, people can be bribed. The US government issued a warning. This isn't me like talking trash, being xenophobic. The US government issued a warning about hospitals, ambulances, the treatment. The State Department did. Look at this. The fact that even the person next to you can do something and hurt you. And there is no protocol that they can actually just walk out and leave. They should have never been allowed to leave. They should have been held. Y'all, listen. Thank you. Villa Linda, again, I would say there's DR, but they have a State Department warning because they're trying to do ethnic cleansing and get all the Black people out of there. I know. So they have an actual State Department warning for racism. So I'm not recommending DR, but for God's sakes, there's Puerto Rico, there's Jamaica, there's Bahamas, there's St. Lucia, there's a bunch of different places. Hell, you can even go on to the Canary Islands. There's a bunch of different places. You got to ask yourself, is that money that you're saving really worth the fact that if things go down, you are 100% unprotected? And I know we like to run to our U.S. embassy and thinking they're going to protect us, but look at what's going on with Shanquella. There is, for God's sakes, there is a videotape of what happened, a videotape, and all this evidence, and we're still waiting for justice. Man, I'm not. Wouldn't be me. Please, I'd be in my cousin's house in South Central with a pool, filling a plastic pool up, the plastic kiddie pools, and telling my aunt, could y'all make some virgin pina coladas before I step foot, especially now. Let's also not forget that El Chapo's son just got arrested. I don't know if they released him yet. Let me tell y'all something. El Chapo's son, a couple of years ago, got arrested by the military. Do you know what they did? They found the town they found the town that either he was being held in or a town he was associated with. And the cartel said that if they didn't release him, they would kill every man, woman, and child in that town before the sun went down. So needless to say, his son got released. Guess what, y'all? His son just got arrested a couple of days ago. There have been 29 deaths so far. Towns are going crazy. They are setting things on fire. They are literally doing what they need to do because they don't care to get this guy released. Do you think they care if you're sitting there trying to order your pina colada? I'm being dead serious. It is in a state of flux right now. And I'm just saying, when you go on vacation, you should go someplace. And listen, this is no shade to Mexico. There are plenty of good, decent, hardworking, honest people that have a lot of love in their hearts that live and work in Mexico and provide stuff. My whole thing is you can't tell who is who from your booking. Did they think did Shanquella think that booking a $3,000 a night luxury villa would have this mess happen? Did she think that there would be a doctor either at best so incompetent it borders on criminal negligence, or at worst, so morally bankrupt and despicable and so dark of so evil of heart that you could be paid off when you're seeing a body and pretend to do CPR and put an IV and do shock treatment when you know my soul is transcended? Man, please. People are evil. You do need to pray for the wicked, but part of it is, right, you got to protect yourself. And part of that is, I know with the Cabo and the free drinks and this and that, I'm just saying that when you go, think again. Look at who's going around you. Look at to where you're going, and actually start Googling if El Chapo's son's gotten arrested. See what's going on in Mexico at that time, because it does make a difference. And as you see, our arms can't extend in quick enough. Hell, sometimes the USA can't even protect their own DEA agents. What makes you think they are good at, please? And protect your all-inclusive for 5 days, 6 nights for $2,400. I'm just saying, right? Yes, and the free watered down drinks. Thank you, Starcy. I'm sorry to laugh, but the free watered down drinks, exactly. And the free watered down drinks where you know, I don't even understand when literally they put a rotten orange juice, pineapple juice, cranberry juice, and you're drinking that punch. Like, y'all remember Mexico from spring break from college freshman year when you're like, why does orange juice taste like this? You know, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's move on. This is the villa. You know what? Actually, hold on, y'all. Let me drop the call in link. I do ask, listen, I'm inviting anybody that wants to call in to call in. We'll give everybody a chance to talk within reason, right? And also, I just ask, please, because YouTube and the algorithm, please let me drop this link right now, call a link. Please make sure that you please try not to curse or keep it down to a minimum, please. That's my only thing. Please don't say anything that's gonna get my channel in trouble, right? Just please. All right. Even if using the R word, the P word, the this, the that. Hold on. Let's bring, oh, we already got some callers in there. Oh, Anthony.
Hi, Tisa. How are
Hey,
you? Can you
Mr.
hear me?
Buchanan. How are you?
I'm so good. Before I ask you some questions, I want to say this. You're doing an amazing job in covering this incredible opposite case because, this case is just sad.
It is.
Yes, yes, and you should do a true crime podcast in the future because you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. Ignore the haters. Keep on doing what you love because you're the
We
best. You're
pray.
beautiful.
Listen, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but we'll pray for the wicked. We're not even letting their energy into it, right? You
We
do what you
shall
got to
overcome. Yes, we shall overcome. And I want to do.
Hey,
I want.
go on,
Yeah.
Anthony. I'm sorry. Go on. Just letting a
Yeah.
few more people on.
I do want to ask you two questions. Number one, I don't want to offend y'all, but does race and colorism play a factor in making this case go die down a little bit? And the second question is the Mexican government not doing the job properly, given the fact they're corrupt?
So here's my whole thing on the race and colorism, right?
Because I don't because Shanquella is she's dark skinned and it's so hard.
It is. It is. I will say this, right?
Hmm.
I have That's a tough one. I feel that being Black, you always have to take a second look at it. While it's always not the case, I feel like you always have to take a second look whenever anything happens because things like that do happen. You know,
Hmm.
we're treated different. It's unconscious bias. Sometimes it's bias, right? I
Hmm.
do feel like, and this is just my opinion, that if this was a Natalie Holloway or anything other than that, I do feel like I think we would have gotten more. I think we would have gotten a quicker response. I think we would have gotten a bigger response. I really honestly do. The fact that people are saying you need to be patient for justice, okay, but the Ohio murderer not only got caught from just like a camera seeing a white Hyundai Elantra and them
Hmm.
doing all these crazy, but the Ohio murderer got caught and got extradited where they
Damn,
had zero
that's
evidence in less time than what's going on with Shanquella's case. There is another case called Matthew Taylor. He did the thing in Mexico. He ran back to the US. Mexico said extradite him. The US was like, absolutely not. He's damaged and hurt the community. I'm sorry, guys. He's
I want to ask you something.
wait, hold on one second, Anthony. Hold on. Hello? Sorry. Hello? Okay. 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 Sorry, Anthony. There's just a little feedback on your line. So
Yes,
I'm
I,
gonna
I
mute
do
you.
want to ask you something, and I don't want to confuse you. I don't want to embarrass you nor humiliate you. But I do want to ask you one big hypothetical question. What happens now? What will happen if an autistic black man is killed? Would it lead to a backlash?
What do you mean?
No, I'm just giving you a hypothetical question. What happens if an autistic black adult is being killed at a hotel? Would it lead to backlash?
I 100% think it will or it should lead to backlash. But again, you know how it is. They wait for people to forget, to sweep it under the rug. And you know what? It actually scares me a little bit because this is Shanquella's birthday, and this is an excellent point you make. Yo, a month ago, people couldn't get enough of this story and it was on everything and everybody's tongue. Now
Hmm.
the interest is dying down. And as much as it might not be like as sexy or as like, I mean, sexy is the wrong word, but as like, but before we're
Hmm.
ripping and running, like what's going to happen? We still need to keep talking about it because, and tagging the FBI, tagging Joe Biden, tagging Kamala Harris, because at the end of the day, that's all that they care about, whether this is going to affect them and the votes and whether they can make it go away or forget about it. And if we show them that it's not going to be forgotten about, you know how that is.
Can
But
I add
let me,
on to you? Yeah,
yeah,
I want to say something about the mainstream media. I don't want to criticize them too much, but they're not doing a proper job of focusing on the Sinclair Robinson. They just pick and choose, like, whatever they want, cater to the audience, and it just sucks. It's disgusting.
well, you know what? Let's not talk about, listen, pray for the wicked. Everybody has a different way of covering this. I assume that everybody has their best heart, their best interest at heart. So let's just focus on Shanquella, her memory, and also like what we can do to raise awareness and also what questions you have. Okay. Whatever people do on their channels, that's their channels, just like what I do on my channel is my channel. So let's focus on this is her birthday. Let's focus on, and I know you're a super positive person, Anthony. Happy belated
Thank
birthday
you.
to you too.
Yeah, my birthday was good. I spent time with mommy. I ate some Polish food, and I'm 22 years old. Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
blessed. Thanks for
Okay.
having me on,
So
Tisa.
thank you so much, Anthony. We're going to let some other people come up.
All
Thank you
right.
so much, Anthony. Many happy belated holidays. Bye bye. Okay. So next we have Presley. Hi, Presley.
Hi. I was actually coming up because I just wanted to say after seeing those photos with the two medics and the doctor, I
Mhm.
completely believe Nazir's story. Simply because in the photo you can see the pillow that he got from the bedroom and the barf bag that he got for Shanquella in that photo. And just it his whole story makes sense, including the part with him being like, okay, I went to the game room, they wanted to cook, so then I went to the living room. I saw her there, kind of like passed out. I got her a pillow from the bedroom, I got her a barf bag. I went to the pool, and while I was at the pool, I was calling for her, saying, like, get up, which makes sense after we see the picture that where she was found in the living room, there's like a big open window where the pool is. I'm not sure if you can like pull that up or if you know what
Hold
I'm
on. Let me
talking
see if I
about.
can find it. So describe that scene again while you're talking. I'll pull through and find it for
Where he
you.
said where like he said when he first got there, he went to the game room where like he said Shanquella was like knocked out. Then he went to the game room and everybody was like, okay, let's go cook. And then when he went to the living room, they told him that she got like alcohol poisoning, that
Mm.
he got her a pillow from the bedroom and got her a barf bag. And in that photo with the medics and the doctor, you see that pillow from the bedroom and the barf bag. And
It,
then
yes, yes. I think this picture, if you guys want to zoom in, is exactly what she's describing. So you're looking in from the pool. To the left is where the dinner dining area is, and to the right is that game room couch. Let me see if I can zoom in. But I'm
no,
sorry.
there's another picture of just the couch where you could see the outside of the where you could see the window, like the big open, like kind of opening. I'm not it's like
Definitely. I'm trying to find that right now, and I know we have it. Here is another picture of just the couch from Villa. If you can see, there's that same Darkwood entertainment system, the TV, that gray couch, the lamp, and then we also see those two side chairs right there. And that looks out there. And there we
yeah,
go.
right
We see the
here.
back.
That's the one. Yeah,
Yeah.
where and that's where Shanquella was found on that couch. Where he said that he found Shanquella on the couch, and where the picture is, and he said that he went out to the pool and he was like, "Hey," like saying like, "Hey, like Shanquella, like get up." And
Mhm.
then after that, between all of his like nervousness, and he did throw a couple of lies in there. You know what I'm saying? But he did say that he came back from the pool and was like, "What are you guys doing? She didn't deserve it. Did you guys jump her? Like, what's like?" After he like really looked at her and noticed her injuries, and he was like, "Did you guys jump her. Then he like started playing like music and rubbing her head after that.
So
Like
here's
it
the
all
funny
makes
thing.
sense to me.
Here's the funny thing. I actually did a video, but I'm first of all, I'm in agreement with you. I actually did a video about this a couple of days ago where I was like, yo, Nasir's live, which is why he might feel comfortable showing his face. The more we find out about the evidence, the more we find out about the story. I 100% agree with you. A lot of things Nasir's saying is literally in line with things that are being reported. Now, I do want to put a disclaimer. There's a chance somebody actually listened to Nasir's live and then
Mhm.
decided to make a fact set from that. But I gotta say, like you said, you see the towel, you see this, you see that. But then that's when things get a little scary. Because here's the thing: if you believe that to be true, and I am believing, the one thought I couldn't shake from my head is, that means, was the autopsy report about the time of death true? If Nasir
No,
got there and she was rubbing head and he did all this stuff and blah 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 blah, and he wasn't just a criminal mastermind that staged all this. I mean, let's, we can't let anybody off the hook. When did she actually die?
I
When
do.
did she actually die?
I do believe that when he got there, she was already gone because he said I walked into him. He's like, I came for my birthday and I walked into a murder. I wish my plane was late. I wish it blew up. Because he said I walked into a murder. So that tells me that when he first got there, he went to the game room where everybody
Mm-hmm.
else was, and then he came out to the living room and they started cooking. And then he was just like, Shanquella, get up, not really looking at her. He went out to the pool trying to celebrate, trying to turn up, and he was calling like, "Hey, Shanquella." And then when he came and looked at her, saw her bloodshot eyes, as he said, saw her busted lip, that's when he realized that she was gone. And that's where that video that he said he took comes in. And this is where he becomes wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
think that after he yelled at them saying nobody deserves this, that y'all jumped her, like she don't deserve this. And then that video he talked about comes in. I think that he then started videoing when he was like, "Oh, I took a video saying, Shanquella, do you want to like I want to go ride ATVs and do all this fun stuff." I think and then he kept on mentioning, "Oh, I have these videos archived and timestamped." So I think that once he came back from the pool, realized she was gone, yelled at them, he
Mm-hmm.
pulled out his camera, and that's why he kept on saying timestamped and archived.
Mm-hmm.
But he never showed, he said it was Instagram Live, but nobody ever picked up on that or screen recorded that, and he never put out those videos. I think he
Yeah.
did that to save his own butt. I think that once he
Yes.
realized, I think once he
That
realized
something
that
wasn't
they were
missing.
all I think once he realized that she was gone and they were covering it up, that he pulled out his camera and was like, "Hey, Shanquella, you want to do ATVs? Let's go out. Let's do this. Let's do
Yep.
that." And I think in those videos that he kept on mentioning were timestamped and archived, were his kind of alibi that he wasn't there when it happened.
Mm. I 100% agree with you when it comes to that. There's something definitely off with that. Presley, thank you so much um, for joining us. We're going to bring Dana up to talk. But Presley, we 100% agree with what you're saying. There are times where Nasir, but like you said, there is that pivotal point. Like you said, a lot of people are pointing out. Why didn't you call 911? Why didn't you do more? And here's this: when you came back, why didn't you go to the funeral? It's almost like like you said, he was only concerned with saving his own butt. So even though, right, you might not have been the person that was involved with the direct death, you now know that you're implicated in a cover up and you're trying to save your own butt too. I do
And
think,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can I mention one more part too of his
yeah.
video? Where he said that because he didn't come out with this video until the neck injuries part came out, until the fight
Mm-hmm,
video came out. He
mm-hmm,
mentioned in the video that he didn't go to the parents until afterwards, and that he was like welcome with like open arms, and that he told the mother what actually went on, and said that he hopes that they get justice for their daughter. So I don't think that he was one of the ones who went and lied to the mother. He stayed away until the truth came out and
mm-hmm.
then went and told them, which makes me think he was the one who called and said that it wasn't alcohol poisoning. They were fighting her out there.
It makes me think that I agree with you. And thank you so much, Presley. I'm just going to take you down and then bring
Okay.
Dana up. I 100% agree with you. Um, but I do also think that him and Alyssa, even though people keep pointing the finger at Alyssa, I believe that there is a reason why they are walking around just so proud, living their lives, doing their thing. It could have been two of them that spilled the beans. We know that Alyssa's family is pretty well connected. Um, I don't know if they're well connected to stop the FBI from coming down. Maybe if it's a local traffic stop in North Carolina or something that happens in North Carolina, but I don't know if they're that busy. It's just like people saying that businessman that owns the villas is a very powerful businessman. You can look him up. No, he's not. I mean, don't get me wrong, he is rich, but there's nothing nefarious. It's like, I mean, again, there's nothing nefarious that he can go against the US government. And I guarantee you one thing, whether somebody is rich and powerful in Mexico or they have crime ties to cartels, baby, that all pales when it comes to the American government looking into things. We can all agree on that. So for them to be like, he's very powerful, yeah, in Mexico, which is another reason I think we all need to stand up and say, stop the extradition. Try her in America. North Carolina has the death penalty. Y'all talking about she's going to have 20 years in the Mexico jail. A state prison is no better at all, or a federal prison. Try her in America. We can ask them, stop extradition. No, we don't trust Mexico. They handle the case. From what I've seen, they've been bumbling. Let's just stop it. But Dana, jump in here. Hi, Dana. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for joining. What's your take on this, Dana?
My question is about lawyers. I mean, with all the lawyers that are in America that are normally, I'm sorry, I'm at work, that normally jump in on different cases, have the family not tried to get a lawyer? Is like everybody's saying like, no, we can't do it. Or have they even attempted to hire a lawyer?
So her parents, and again, this is just me projecting, they seem like very loving, very trusting people. I think the thing is with lawyers, when they come in, they promise you a lot. And this is not to throw shade on Ben Crump and whatever they're doing, because there could be a lot of things backstage that we don't know what's happening. But I agree with you. I find it odd that a case that has gotten social media in an uproar, there have been no high profile civil rights leaders, legislators, congressmen, senators, celebrities, the only person we've had come out is Nancy Grace. And, God bless Nancy Grace. She definitely does a job. But my whole point is I find it odd the way this is being handled. And I know it's the parents probably following the lawyer's thing, but I don't understand what they're trying to get out of this or why they're being so quiet,
Right. And that's if the FBI said, okay, you hold on, we're working on it, what does that have to do with you getting a lawyer outside of the FBI?
Well, he has one, which is Ben Crump, but I don't know Ben Crump's strategy. And this is no shade to Ben Crump because, of course, he's very competent in what he does. But the last 3 or 4 cases he's handled has not ended well for him. I feel like he's had a name for himself, but it's kind of like, I don't know, I think it might be time for them to change representation to someone that is more proactive, understands the power of social media, understands the power thing, and really starts demanding things. But that said, I do just want to say, I don't know what Ben obviously might know more than I know. I'm just like sitting there from like a passenger seat, backseat driver, being like, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
So
okay. Yeah. And that was my question about that. So you cleared that up. Appreciate it. And my question also is about the Cabo 6. Okay, even though if Nazir got there and she was alive or was dead, or hey, y'all killed her, y'all murdered her or whatever, still, when everybody left Mexico and everybody went back over to the United States, no one went and talked to the police. No one got to the United States and said, hey, whatever happened. Dejanay was fighting her. And one of them had to leak the video in the first place, one of those Cabo 6. But I think when they were recording live, I don't think they meant to kill her. And so they didn't mean to kill her. They just meant to embarrass her and beat her up and all this stuff. But then, I do believe there's a video 1, a video 2, a video 3, because there was more than one person videotaping this. And I do believe that the daddy did see his daughter take her final breaths on that video. And
Yes.
I do not think that it was when Dejanay was beating her on the ground and she jacked her head and all that. No. And what we have to realize or remember, okay, when Nazir got there, no one has mentioned did she have on clothes or did she not have on clothes when Nazir got there, not when the doctor got there.
That's a good question. Nasir fails to mention that.
Okay,
Um,
so saying that, so my thing is, if we know she got beat up naked, she was beat up
yes,
naked. So if he got there and she was laid out in the game room over the toilet or whatever, ain't nobody saying why she you mean you ain't gonna mention why she ain't got no clothes on? What and
exactly. I
or
found that.
the doctor came in, she didn't have no supposedly when the doctor came, she had clothes on, right?
Yes,
Okay, so that means if she didn't have clothes on when Nazir got there, you still know you were handling a dead body because she was not
yes,
moving. You talking about you didn't notice her eye until the doctor pointed it out. Well, you rubbed her head. You you, you rubbed her head with clothes on, clothes off. First, we need to find out fast that if the clothes were on and clothes were off, and
hmm.
if they wasn't, let's ask Nazir who put on her clothes.
Listen, these are all fantastic points, and the thing is, what I'm pretty sure the FBI has already interviewed Nasir, but Mexico, though, they're moving really, really weird. I do want to bring up Kim. You bring up a good point. When I say none of our black celebs have donated, that was false. Our good brother, always in tidings and goodwill, Kyrie Irving, has donated generously to
Yes.
Shanquella's fund. I believe he gave 60 or 65,000. I do agree also with Compton Cali girl when she said, I feel like Shanquella's family needs to make their presence at the embassy in Mexico and stand in front of the FBI in Washington, ask to help, like they did for the college students, and show that video on TV.
That might help.
100%. They do need, and this is my whole thing with Ben Crump. What are you doing? Organize a GD march in
Yes.
Washington. Or if you don't want to go to Washington, organize a GD march in North Carolina. Make our presence
Right.
known. People
I
will show
live in
up if they can.
Oklahoma. I'm here in Oklahoma, and I heard about the Shanquella case through Facebook. I didn't, of course, I don't know anything about the girl, but I got furious because I guess if you looking at it on a parent side, and
Mhm.
this was your child, that movie that Matthew McConaughey made, A Time to Kill, and
Yes.
he went through the
Yes, I
courtroom.
was thinking about that video,
Yeah,
that
and
movie.
made them close their eyes. Everybody was it was so sad. But they was picturing the little black girl. But when
Yeah.
he said picture, if it was your child, picture her white. It's a totally different feeling when you picture it.
Especially if you picture Dejanay still being black and
I, I,
Shanquella being not black. That would change the whole thing. But Dana, thank you so much for joining us. I'm gonna
thank
drop you
you.
down and then
Thank
we're gonna
you.
go to Nana with corn. Hold on.
Tis,
Hi Nana. How are you? Are you muted? Hold on.
I think
Wait,
I'm
hold on.
muted. Okay,
Okay,
that's
there you go.
better. How's
We
it
can hear
going? Now, what I have to say is, as someone that take paralegal, I
you.
believe that all six of them are culpable. Reason being, even if Nazir got there after the fact, right?
Hmm.
He still lied about the incidents. He
Okay.
helped to cover it up. As the lady before said, no one of them went to the police and said what they saw or whatever. So it's like in my country, in Canada, right? If someone commit a crime
Hmm.
and everybody knows about the crime, say three people are involved, whether the other two was there present when the crime has been committed, once you have knowledge of that crime, then you're aiding and abetting. So you can be charged as well.
It's also to
So,
the point of that's definitely true in Canada. We also have something when it comes to torts, or when you've caused physical injury. This is more like civil cases suing for money, but you can extend this into criminal. I think it's called res ispa loquitur. That means that thing speaks for itself. It's actually started where this man, I think, had a sponge sewed in his stomach, and there were doctors and nurses standing around. So then, he got an infection. He was like, yo, like, I'm suing somebody. And the doctors and nurses were like, wasn't me, wasn't me, wasn't me. We don't know how that. And they literally said, and it set a precedence. Listen, this only could have happened if somebody had made an affirmative step. So we are bringing all of you guys in, all of you guys, as the person that sewed the sponge, killed Shanquella. And then you guys are going to have to defend yourselves and prove to us that you had nothing to do with it. Okay? Because it happened. And since nobody wants to talk, we're just going to act like everybody was involved. And then you guys explain how you weren't involved. That's actually what should actually happen. That's why it surprises me that Mexico did the bare effing minimum, right? And issued a warrant for Dejanay. When it first happened, I was like, yes. But in the coming days, I was like, where's the other warrants? Where are the other warrants? Where are the other warrants? And nothing came. So it's kind of like when you look at stuff like that, it's like, okay, like this only happens if people cover up, if people do this or that. They could have issued warrants for everybody and had them all extradited. But they seem very, very quick to want to be like, it was only Dejanay, and we're going to call the Cabo 6 in for witnesses. Again, I think the case has expanded, and the FBI is looking for more evidence. I do not think the Cabo 6 are just running around free. I think that they're keeping tabs on them. But it does worry me that at this point, it's going on 2 months, right? Why aren't there more warrants coming out? Why haven't they been subpoenaed? Or why haven't they denied extradition, which they can? A common thing for denying extradition, just like with the Matthew Teller case, is saying, sorry, this has rocked the community. And 2, since Mexico doesn't have a death penalty, we're going to keep them in America because we're considering the death penalty. Matthew Taylor didn't even get the death penalty, but it's a way that you can get out of extradition. The U.S. government knows as well. So it's surprising me that they're letting the American government, they're letting the Mexican government get away with it. But again, I don't know.
The
If I was a
Mexico,
government, I don't know
the
if I want
Mexican,
to
the Mexican government, they have fumbled the bag, and so if the FBI does take over, I believe that justice will be served to everyone that is involved. Because, mind you, America and the FBI do not like to look bad in front of the world stage. And a lot of people are still watching. Even though there's not a lot of noise on Main Street media, but YouTubers and social media people are still watching. And so they don't want to look bad in front of the world. So I think they would do a good job if they can take over the case in its entirety.
Definitely. Definitely. Do you know what? Definitely. But again, the U.S. needs to be shamed into doing the right thing. That's how the civil rights movement worked. We shamed America on the world stage where they were trying to be taken seriously as a world leader. Again, those marches, those visuals, the slow singing and flower bringing stuff, we need to bring that back to keep the eyes of the world on this, to make the government really, really jump into action. But listen, Nana, thank you so much for joining us.
Not a problem, Tisa.
Thank you for
I've been
sharing.
rocking from you from day one, girl. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
I really appreciate that. So you've seen the growth, right? Now,
Oh, yes, I have.
Doing big things. All right.
Okay, I'm trying little things here in Canada too. I have a little channel, not as big as here, but I'm trying little
tell us what
things.
your channel is before you go. What's your
same
channel?
thing. Nana's W Corner, like my name. Nana's W Corner.
W Corner.
Yeah.
Nice. So you guys, if you can, Nana, what do you focus on your channel?
Well, a little of everything. I like a plate of food where everything is mixed up. So yeah. I have a social work background. I have a legal background, so I can talk about those things as well.
Okay, so you guys, if you want some a little bit of lifestyle, a lot of commentary, and just somebody that you know you can really vibe with, make sure you hit up Nana W Corner. Make sure you follow her on YouTube and check her channel
Thank you,
out. I
Tisa.
mean, come on, y'all found me just on a whim. Please spread the
Thank you,
love.
Tisa.
All right,
Okay,
Nana.
great girl.
Okay,
Bye.
bye bye. Oops, sorry. Hey, Fly Girl, how are you? Fly Girl, Fly Girl. Flygo, you're muted. If you can hear me, you're muted. Okay, we'll come back to Fly Girl. Wait, did she just say,
Golly.
hey, Fly Girl?
Take
Hi.
two. Take two. This is why I don't have a YouTube channel. Good evening, lovely lady. You were just so wonderful and so passionate about what you do, and I thoroughly enjoy listening to you. I really do. I just found you recently, and you know, this case, as you have said, and many other people have said, it's a mess. It's a mess. But
Yeah,
you know what? Like the other woman said, and I'm not messing with Nana. So what the other woman said about all six of them, they are all liable for this situation, and they
hmm
definitely need to get what they deserve. This is a young black beautiful woman who was taken down in her prime, and there has to be an outcome that everybody in every community, black, white, Asian, etc.,
yeah,
that we understand, especially here in America, because we are a mixed bowl of people. But I know we're on a time frame, so let me get to what
yeah.
I'm trying to understand. So you indicated that the FBI is involved, or they're supposedly talking to Mexico and back and forth, Mexico, U.S., exactly. So, what role does the FBI play in this? And if they have a large role in this, why is it that, like you say, and like so many other people say, that this is going slower than molasses?
So the FBI is involved, and they're the ones that's pointing the finger at like what happened in Mexico. It looks like they're okay. I'll just give my honest opinion. I
Yeah.
think it's moving slower than molasses because I think there's a problem with the autopsy. I think that they've done additional testing. I think the crime scene, because they let those people leave and they didn't take pictures or anything, the maids cleaned everything up.
Hmm.
I think there is a big problem with that. And also, I do think that I 100% believe that Dejanay is under some type of provisional arrest. That's when they grab you while you're getting the paperwork ready for extradition. But
Okay.
in order for that paperwork to go through,
Hmm.
you need that warrant to be solid. They review it to be like, okay, do you have enough evidence to really convict somebody of murder? I think that maybe Mexico's case, when they put it together on paper, does not rise to the level of a murder warrant. Do you see what I'm saying?
So
So
yeah.
I think
So
that Mexico messed it up, and the IRS, then the federal government is like, yo, like we need to get enough evidence that we can get you, not with manslaughter, not with abuse of someone, but actual no, this is when. And it might come down to if the Cabo Six aren't talking, right?
right.
And if there's a problem with the autopsy test, again, I don't want to start like starting rumors and whatnot, but I do think that there is an actual problem with some of the evidence. And
So
that problem is because
mhm.
Mexico probably effed up and didn't collect it right and thought it was gonna, like just
Okay.
did a
I see
half-ass job.
what you're saying. Yes, exactly. So they've done a half-ass, excuse my French, half-ass job of the situation, and that is where the FBI, as you indicated, here in America, evidence is everything. Even though, like you said a million times, they got all these freaking videos.
Yeah,
What more do you need? You can see the girl in the dang picture. Come on. But
yeah,
on paper, I see your point to
yeah.
where exactly. And
But here's the thing also,
mhm,
I still think if they don't get them on, let's just say worst case scenario, they don't get them on. You have the video, you still see like the abuse, the this, the that. She died of a luxation. Like, come on.
yeah,
Um, Again, unless there's a problem with that autopsy and they're not seeing the same things that the autopsy did. But I find that hard to believe. I find that hard to
Yeah,
believe she
I do.
died of something,
Yeah.
you know?
Now, the father was having a second autopsy done in North Carolina. Am I correct?
So that part I'm unclear about.
Okay.
I thought that the autopsy he was talking about was the one that happened in Mexico. I hope to God and pray that they have had a second, or if not a third, because the FBI probably performed one, a
Mhm.
third autopsy that they are privy to.
Okay.
And the family has gone a little bit silent in the fact of sharing information, which makes me believe that the FBI or whoever's investigating went to them and said, let's just keep this between us because you don't want to tamper. Again, you
Mm.
look at like why they weren't telling the family in the first place. Just say they were sharing information from the beginning.
Mhm.
Khalil, Dejanay, and Winter would have been sitting there taking notes like, ooh, what they say, what they do, where we go. So I do believe that there has to be information that they are not publicly sharing
Sure.
about the autopsy, that you don't want the guilty people, you know? That's what I
Right. Right. No, and you're absolutely right. I mean, look at this Idaho case, all the stuff that they found, and they were able to get this guy. So
exactly.
absolutely, I'm sure there is, things like you said behind the curtain, so to speak. And anyways, I don't want to
Yes.
take any more of your time. I
Oh
appreciate you,
no, thank you so much.
and you are just lovely. I think you should be on television. I think we need to get you on TV. Your enthusiasm is fabulous.
Thank you. They're gonna keep cutting the camera, like, cut the camera, stop saying that. So
No.
but thank you. But I love being with you guys on YouTube. And again, thank you guys so much. On what is today? This Tuesday night, actually coming together, or sorry, Monday night, coming together in honor of Shanquella's birthday, and like the fact that we all want so much for justice to be done, and none of us are going to let anything fall behind. Let's bring up Ash. Hey Ash, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Hi
I
Ash.
was I was just coming on because I'm from North Carolina myself. So I understand like the whole case. I feel so terrible for Shanquella. I think one is responsible. But what I have an issue with is the family. Okay, yes, they raised over like a 400K. If I lost a child like that, I couldn't be so quiet they are. Like I would be out in the streets going places, getting everybody riled up. I have like all kind of detectives. It's like nothing has been done but YouTube channels saying different stories. Then you got other people, bloggers going out saying different stories. So you never know what's going on. If the FBI is telling them to keep quiet, that's okay. But if you keep quiet, this case is gonna go cold, and that's gonna be done. It seems like everything is just all over the place. Nothing is getting done at all. And I see like the sisters and all of them, they're out doing whatever, but they should be out getting justice. I don't see that.
You know, they should be out getting justice, but again, I don't really blame the family. I blame their representation. I mean, I hope to God I'm never in the situation where I would have to see, but they are mourning, they are scared, they are mad. And you can tell, listen to the dad and the mom, they are God fearing people. And I say that to say, like, it's not that they're meek, it's just the fact that they don't know how these processes work. So they're going to Crump and they're going to all these people, like, show us what we need to do. Every time they get an avenue to make noise, they go. They were on Nancy Grace or this and that. So I actually blame the people that they're like, I don't know the way. Can someone show me? I blame the people that's showing them the way, that's giving them, in my opinion, like the wrong advice. So yeah, definitely.
I just
But
hope it don't go cold.
definitely. But listen, Ash, because let me just bring it. Thank you so much for coming up. I'm going to bring up Christine Callie and then, of course, Sherry Hall. Thank you so much, Ash. Appreciate it. Hey, Christine, how
Hello,
are you?
beautiful. I
Oh,
need your
gorgeous.
resume.
How are you?
I need your resume. I'm giving it to the FBI. You are in charge of the case, and you cracked the case. No, you are phenomenal, and I appreciate you letting us come up. I know you still got that cough and not feeling well, but all your hard work is wholeheartedly appreciated. I just have just a couple of things in my head. One,
Yes.
do you think that they might have did a rape kit? because she was nude,
Oh,
like that, because
wow.
I
Huh.
just thought, because before, well, people, even though her mom's like, oh, she sleeps naked, but I heard, like another man was like, ain't no way I could sit there, it was like they were just like, it was watching TV, like they were watching a TV show and not real life. Well, can you
Yeah.
fight back? And I always thought when that person said no, I didn't think it was Shanquella saying no, but I don't know her voice. You know what I mean? To say,
Yeah.
like, because how some people be like, if they say, oh, she can't even fight back, and they're like, no, like I could
Yeah.
see maybe Donovan or somebody, saying that, or, and then I was thinking, could they separate it? Like, do you think that they definitely, they could extradite, what's her name? Dejanay.
Yes.
I heard the name 50 million times. You think I would know it?
Dejanay, yeah.
Dejanay. You think they would split the case up because she actually was the one who, really was the main person involved, and only extradite her, but the rest of the 5 in North Carolina, could they prosecute them up here, or it has to be in one spot?
So funny thing that you say that. Um, you make up some good points. First of all, I hope 100% they did do an R test. I don't know like how
Oh,
long
I'm
that
sorry. I
can.
didn't mean to say the word. I'm
No, it's
sorry.
okay. I don't know how long that can live. Because again, there was considerable time. So, with autopsy, like some stuff is time sensitive. But the fact of, yeah, her mom said she sleeps nude, but the fact that that brutal attack happened and we're all looking for the motivation, it's like, what's going, I mean, there is no justification, but just like trying to see like what was the trigger. You bring up a good point though. If Dejanay is tried in Mexico and convicted, right, they can bring the Cabo Six up on charges in America and use what the evidence is in Mexico. Again, it won't be a conviction, but
Right.
they can it won't be like a conviction, but hold on guys. It won't be a conviction, but they can use the evidence that Mexico gathered that was proven in the court of law and use that to also weigh that evidence. Also, let's also not forget what they do is they would bring that evidence to America. And yeah, you can't be like, well, I heard this and that. But they can actually try Desanay in America in abstention, right? They can try her in America. They can find her guilty. Let's just say Mexico gives her 40 years. America says you're getting 80, right? When she finishes those 40 years in Mexico, they will deport her back to America. She'll have to
Right.
finish those 40 years in America, but they can take that conviction and actually try the Cabo Six as a conspirators, accomplices, tampering, all that stuff. So there are a bunch of legal avenues. The real crux is, when are things going to get popping? Like again,
Right.
if Mexico is having this much trouble extraditing, keep her in America. I am 100% sure. Listen, this is the only time that the legal racism will work for good. That'll never cut black people breaks when
Right.
it comes to legal. So finally, we'll have the book thrown at somebody who deserves it because they ain't cutting you any breaks, right? They're looking at
Right.
Dejanay. They just read her name and the way it was spelled was like, you did it. This is the only time legal racism can work in our favor. So it's like, keep her in America. The FBI can do what they did with the Matthew Teller case. The FBI joined hands and worked with Mexico on Mexico soil to gather the evidence, do this, do that, and then brought it all back to the US. So let's make that racism finally work for us.
And 2 more quick points. I'm wondering, where's Al Sharpton and all the people? Like, he like picks and chooses. Like, he was so right there with George Floyd, and I get it and appreciate it, 100%. But like, I don't see the support. NAACP, somebody.
Yes.
But like you said, even a celebrity. And my last point, my other point or question was, if they would have to exhume her body. And then I wonder, when the body is embalmed, would it
I
still
so
show the
just to when her funeral happened, the FBI had gotten involved. I don't think that her body was exhumed. I don't even know if her body was actually buried with the casket. It's often common with things like that. They actually take the body and keep it because there might be new testing, this and that. I don't even know if Shanquella had an open casket. But even if she had an open casket, they might have just loaned the body, but they bring the body back. Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, because I was just like, I mean, the way, all the details and stuff. And I'm just like, Roland, I was glad to see Roland Martin. He did feature it. But like, what do you think or recommend for us to do? Like, I've heard people say marching, I heard people say this or that, but I guess, what little thing or anything could do, that we could all, like, we signed a petition, but just, is there anything else we can do?
Petition, Big Crump, I don't know what he's doing. It's like, you need to, I think, from what I've seen living in America, and Crump has more experience than me, but let me just say my layman's opinion. You need to disrupt the system so much that it becomes uncomfortable for them not to do anything. And I feel like Ben Crump, because you got to think sometimes people aren't just thinking about what they're doing now. They're thinking also about their future relationships. And he can organize this, the march on the State Department, tag Kamala Harris, tag Joe Biden, do all this stuff, Shanquella's family can start a massive retweet where they're like, tag everybody. And then before you know it, it got like, if we can get 100, 200, 500,000 views on the video, it can be 500,000 retweets. It can be all this stuff. The issue is the fact that sometimes people that need business relationships, they don't want to rock the boat too much, because while they're supposed to be fighting for you, they don't want to create a problem that's going to be an issue for future stuff. Again, I don't know if that's going on, but there's no way that anyone can logically explain the silence that's happening. And even the way people are like, oh my God, but extradition takes time. Y'all saw the Idaho student case. It does not. What takes time is getting the paperwork on the judge's desk. There's a line. But if you jump in front of that line, that extradition is approved in like less than an hour. Like, how long do people go up in front of judges? 20, 25 minutes? Hearings are not that long. And don't forget, with the extradition hearing, you're not arguing your case. It's just like, looks like there's enough. Boom, you're done. So the fact that we can put pressure to jump that paperwork over the line and get it, the same way they jumped the Idaho case. They jumped his extradition paperwork to the front of the line. And for those of you guys don't know, extraditing to a foreign nation such as Mexico that we have a treaty with, and extraditing to another U.S. state, let's not forget the United States is modeled after a bit the Roman Empire, which is separate but interconnected member nations. We are separate but interconnected nation of member states. So California extraditing to Nevada has a treaty among itself. It is the same paperwork as the treaty we've had with Mexico. We are separate but interrelated member states. So again, if we can jump everything ahead, it will work out. And again, I'm just questioning Ben Crump, but I don't want to be too harsh because, again, I'm from the outside looking in.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, but you're good from the outside looking. You are every time I'm like, yes. And one last thing, I promise. Like, you know how with domestic violence or within a relationship, and like, say I got in a fight, but then I decide I don't want to press charges. Do you know how the state would jump in? Is that what would happen with this case? Like,
yes, absolutely. They would have no choice. Again, especially when it comes to violent crime, you might not care that like your boyfriend or girlfriend did mortal combat on you, but the state cares because even if it's not you, they might go to another person. We can't have people out here just preying on people. So yeah, that's exactly what would happen. Even if they say, oh, I don't want to, the state will pick it up or the federal government will pick it up and be like, we have no choice. We have no choice. We have to do this. I'm sorry. Which is why a lot of times victims will be like, especially when it comes to TV, will be like, no, please don't. And they'll be like, I'm sorry, we have enough evidence to prosecute. And even though you're fine with it, somebody else might not be. So we have to protect the people that are,
Well, thank you.
No problem,
I appreciate
Christine.
you. I'll be back in the chat. I can't wait.
Thank you,
your next
Christine.
video.
You have a good one. And last but not least, we have Miss Sherry Hall. Thank you, Miss Hall, for waiting. How are you?
I'm okay. Can you hear me?
We can hear you beautifully.
Okay. This is my thing. We're going to take Lion Nazir out. We're going to take the doctors out, the ambulance out. That morning, when they woke her up out of bed, did anyone say, Shanquella, you look like you could be sick? I wonder if you have alcohol poisoning. When she got into the altercation with Dejanay at the window and they was going back and forth, and Dejanay said, okay, and then Shanquella said, okay. Did anyone say, hey, Shanquella, you look like you may be sick or have alcohol poisoning?
That's a good point.
When they got the fighting, and she got all, when she tossed her and everything, did anybody say, matter of fact, one of the guys said, are you going to fight back? Anybody say, hey, wait, Shanquella, you look sick. Do you have alcohol poisoning? When she was on the ground, did anybody say, you look sick, you got alcohol poisoning? So the whole time in the whole video, you can see that she was of sound mind and body, that she wasn't intoxicated. She answered when they talked to her, she answered. So why can't the FBI be like, wait a minute? They lied to her parents, because you can see this during the whole video. No one asked was she sick. No one said you got alcohol poisoning, and they lied to her mother. And I'm like, but before the doctor and all this even came, can't they just like charge her with like lying? Because when they told the mom about the alcohol poisoning, that came after. That was a lie, to cover it up. But I'm like, the FBI can't see that this girl's of sound mind and body. She was not sick. She was answering questions. She was not high. She was not passed out until they hurt her. And I'm like, but why they didn't bring up charges on just lying about the whole thing? Like, and I'm talking about, this is before the doctor came. This is before Lion Nazir got there. And I'm just like, wait a minute, but nobody asked before they beat her all up, and why they're beating up. You look sick. Do you got alcohol poisoning? And that was my concern. Like, wait a minute, ain't nobody even bring this up. So that's all.
That is a good point, an excellent point about why they're not doing it. I do know. See, here's the thing. I do know that when it comes from evidence in America, you have no legal duty to assist someone unless there is a duty of care. Duty of care might be parent, child. If you have a sick relative and you're the caretaker, a duty to care is a legal responsibility to make a reasonable effort to make sure that they're safe. Nobody expects you to jump off a cliff to save someone, but if you see someone that you can pull them aside, it works out a lot better, right? Hey B, thank you so much for the super sticker. But nobody has a duty to care. So the issue is why they need to actually question them. And the thing is, I feel like if they did question, they would all crumble. The issue is, like you said, did nobody stop? Did that look like somebody was alcohol poisoning? Where was she drinking if she had alcohol poisoning? Again, the only thing that can happen is them saying, well, the fight happened at 7, 8, or 9. We all got over it. We had drinks. And then around 3, she was so drunk, she fell out. But then that gets into, what was there alcohol in her blood? The autopsy didn't show that. So that brings up a lot of questions, which makes my heart hurt to think, but it makes me think that there was something, maybe not wrong, but something lacking in the autopsy. And as days go on with autopsy, things start disappearing from the body. So a fresh body is the best, right? Not to be morbid, but as the days go on, certain evidence starts to disappear, rot, or it gets contaminated, or you just can't tell. Let's also not forget, if they had them in the funeral home, we don't know if she was actually embalmed. Maybe that's why they couldn't check for blood alcohol level. There's a lot of things that could have happened, but you make great points about the FBI has enough to move based on what we're saying, but maybe the FBI is trying to get them down for murder charges and not, because all the Cabo 6 really has to say, it's actually sad, but if Dejanay says, I dressed her myself, they didn't know nothing, I told everybody I'll take care of it, I was the one that did CPR, they wanted to go to the hospital, but I said no, she really will go down with everything, because the Cabo 6 can be like, we didn't know. That's why you need somebody to break. But the thing is, if there is an investigation going on, like the FBI said, then has not the FBI talked to Dejanay? Because I fail to believe that these people are so hardcore that they're going up against, like we all see, like the way interrogations can make an innocent person confess their guilt. Just find it odd that they are just going up, and they're like the usual suspect, Kaiser Sosa, just all this masterminding, and I'm like, I don't know.
Money, where they can go? They don't have jobs. They don't have money, so it ain't like they got all this travel room to go all over the world. They don't have money. The fact that 6 black people was able to delete somebody, because see, black people are noticed all over the place, no matter where we go. They was able to go to a hotel. I heard even possibly go out. How they're not that smart.
And that's the thing I keep saying. Even though posting a video, they are not that smart. They can't be the usual suspects who make all these dumb mistakes.
Yes.
They are not that smart. Where they lucked out is they were in a country, which I said, y'all go to Cabos, y'all be safe in those streets. They went to a country that there's not the procedure like it is, and they exploited that. And once they were on that plane, and then the maids came through and cleaned the villa and all this stuff, they thought they had really honestly gotten away with it. They really honestly, and you never know, who knows what evil lies in the hearts of men. I think one of the ways they were able to wrap their heads around how like disgusting and violent, just evil-hearted what they did, was them saying, well, it was an accident. We were just doing this. We ain't mean to. And there's no point in us all going to jail. You'd be surprised how people can sit there and justify the craziest things. So I think that's also like what they're saying, and why they're all knowing if one of us goes down, all of us goes down, because I do believe they all had a role to play in the cover up. I do think Dejanay was that smart to be like, no, everybody got to touch the body because we are all in this together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate it so much. And you guys, thank you, everybody that joined. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go on my couch. But listen, everybody, wishing Shanquella a happy birthday. Let's do the tweet.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, and you know what? When I start a tweet going on my page, I'll start telling everybody, I've tagged everybody. Just go over to my Twitter and retweet it. Just hit retweet. That's all you got to do. And if we can run those numbers up, I know for a fact. And also, Red Pill Neon Matrix Woke, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much. I will feel better. But you guys, again, I don't want to overstep what the family's attorney's doing, because he might know better than me, right? It's what he does for a living. But I will organize at least tweets that we can every day. If we can, just hit retweet. Just take a second, hit retweet. And that way, and a link to her thing on my Twitter page. I'll even pin it on, you know what? I'll make a tweet with everybody I think we should tag. I'll pin it to my Twitter page, and if people go to my Twitter, you can just hit retweet. Retweet. I don't know about likes on Instagram. I don't know, but I know that the politicians 100% pay attention to Twitter. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much, Sherry. Last but not least, and I will talk to everybody later. Pray for the wicked, and just know that justice is coming for Shanquella.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye, Sherry. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. And bye, everybody.